Hello and welcome. If you are a web developer searching for a way to optimize your workflow, this is a video for you. Imagine you want to automate some boring task like Minify a CSS or a JS file, plus rename the file with a min.css extension, plus purge the CSS from the unused style sheet, plus deploy the website to a different folder, and so on and so forth. With the Gulp.js, you can do everything listed above and much more. So what is Gulp.js? Gulp.js is a toolkit to automate slow and repetitive workflows and compose them into efficient build pipelines. So let's begin the tutorial, shall we? Here we have a web page ready to be deployed. If we see the structure, we have a source folder with a style sheet CSS folder. Inside we have the Bootstrap. In this case, I've used the Bootstrap CSS library, and a simple image with a simple image, and of course the index.html file. So the first thing we have to do is install the JavaScript runtime called Node.js, and if you already have it, just open a terminal and check if the version is at least 8.11. Then we can proceed to install the Gulp command line utility, and just go to the get started on the website gulp.js.com, and there is all the setup you have to do. Maybe the only thing you have to be careful is that in this tutorial we already have created a structure, so we don't need to do something like make dir and cd, because we already are inside the proper directory. So we proceed to install the global gulp command line, and once the utility is installed, we have to create the package.json that is used for managing the project dependencies, script, versioning, etc. Just we have to type npm init -y, yes, and package.json will be created. Then we have to install the gulp package in our dev dependency using the command that is already stated here, npm install dev gulp, this one. And the last thing, we will create the gulp file.js that will contain our code related to our task. Something like touch gulp file.js here. So let's write a simple task in Gulp that will minify the style sheet and will rename it .min.css. For do that, we will use two plugins, one called Gulp Clean CSS and the other called Gulp Rename. So we will proceed now to install the two plugins. So the first thing we have to do is to create the corresponding variable to access the module functionality. The main variable will be called Gulp. We will say require, and here we say Gulp, of course. Then have to create another couple of variable. One is we'll call clean CSS to import the functionality of the module that we just installed. So, and also the rename variable to import the functionality of the Gulp rename module. Let's create a task, a Gulp task. So task need a name, in this case Minify CSS, and also it needs a function. In this case we will call a nameless function, an arrow function, and inside the arrow function we will create the pipeline. The first thing is to create the stream, a stream that will locate all matching files and read them into memory. So with the method src, this will create the streaming pipeline, the streaming node. Let's see, this is the CSS we want to minify. Then we will call the method .pipe. The .pipe method it's used to chaining transform and writable string. We want to, in this case, call the clean CSS, that is the module that will minify our CSS. So clean CSS, it needs a parameter called compatibility, in this case here 8. The second thing we want to do is the another pipe with our name. In this case we want to rename it .min.css, so we have to pass a suffix of min. Last thing, we want to save it in the same folder, so pipe Gulp destination method, and we pass that, not the list, that this one. Then we take the name of the task, go to package.json, paste it here, write down Gulp Minify CSS in this way, then npm run the name of the script, we wait, and we will see that we have created the Minify version of our CSS.